I grew up in a normal Christian home, which was a blessing from God. Just grew up going to church, learning about Jesus. My sister, Sydney, helped me accept Christ when I was 4, but I never really had a personal relationship with Jesus. COVID ran around, and in that part of my life, I really did not do anything. I was kind of stagnant in my faith, both in my faith and physically. I just kind of sat around all day during the lockdown, and I didn't really have a friend group, so I didn't have many people to go hang out with. And I just kind of felt in a lower part of my life. At the end of the year, like Christmas ran around, my parents both had COVID at the time. They had to quarantine, and I was scared because I didn't know if they were gonna like spend Christmas with us. But it was honestly cool because they still came down. They were away from us, but they're still with us, which was special in my mind. New Year's rolled around, January 1st, my dad went to the hospital with pneumonia. He had to be taken away. And they said he was gonna be there for like 5 days max. So I was like, oh, cool. I'll see him in 5 days. Went on my merry way, and I was just like, it's gonna be okay. But he never did come home. 2 months later, he battled COVID. He'd go from stages of like an emergency status to like, oh, he's recovering well. And he was on the peak of like recovering well until he went back down to emergency status on February 20th, and that's when he passed away. For me, I still was 10 at the time. I didn't really understand what that was like. All I knew was he's not here, he's not gonna come back. It was hard for a 10-year-old to experience something that young. My mom sent me to camp the following summer, and I hated it because I was away from my family, and I couldn't bear being away from my family. This following school year, I had to go to a new school. It was different from homeschool. I was with people in a classroom, and I was really scared because I didn't know how to make friends, and I didn't know how to fit in, and I didn't want to be away from my family that long. I struggled with having no connection to God whatsoever. The beginning of 2022 rolls around, and my sisters, they got invited to go to a Crew High School fast break, and I got to go with them. Those talks changed my life, and it was just first time I worshiped him and truly accepted him as my father and my friend. And it just helps me realize one of the biggest things about God is that he takes the worst things and he turns it for good. Like my dad passing, he takes that and he becomes my heavenly father. And as that little walk turned into a little jog, and it turned into a run, it's just been amazing to see how much God has been using me as his instrument. I'm pretty excited going to high school. I want to work with my sister's crew, which I started up. It's really gotten me pumped up to share the gospel, even if it's at high school, which is a pretty scary place, especially for a freshman I'm gonna be. I'm just so excited to see how much God will use me in my entire high school, because if he can use my sisters, then he can use me in my entire high school. And I'm just so excited to see what he has in store for me.